Okay, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition and episode of Ladies Room. Today we have two special guests. We have Miss Rhonda Greene, and we also have Aunt Pam. So the ladies and I are going to allow the platform to be used for them to tell their story as we celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is the month of October. So we will have our first guest. We will have Miss Rhonda Greene introduce herself, tell her story, tell the journey, and tell of any other supports or resources out there for other people going through the situation.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rhonda Greene. I am originally from Denmark, South Carolina, but I reside currently in Greenville. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer in July of 2015. I was celebrating my 40th birthday and found a lump. And after speaking with my doctor, I went for biopsy and all of that pre stuff, and it came back, and it was stage 2 breast cancer, and it was in the right breast only. There was a spot found on the left breast that they notated, but I opted to do a double mastectomy versus having to do the breast reduction and all that stuff. So I had a double mastectomy in October of that same year, 2015. I did chemotherapy. I also did radiation, and everything went well. There were some minor complications, but praise be to God, everything came out really well. I started breast reconstruction that following year, late 2016, I believe. And that started with the expanders being put in, had complications with that on the right side, and it had to be removed. So fast forward to 2019, I decided to go back and try to reconstruction again, and went in for surgery, and that didn't work out as either. I had allergic reaction to the medications, and I went into anaphylactic shock and coded on the operating table. So from that point on, at 2 days, I woke up in ICU on an intubated. But praise be to God, no complications. Everything worked out well, and I have decided to not have any further surgeries. Where I am now, what I look like, I'm happy with it. So,
And you cute.
Thank you, giving it all to God, because that's who saved me. So that is my story.
So, ladies, I'm going to allow Aunt Pam to tell her story, and then from there we're going to go back and then ask questions, because I know that a lot of times when people are sharing is they feel a little nervous, so I'll let them get that off first. So Aunt Pam, she ready? Courtney, Aunt Pam was fixing her hair, Rhonda. She said,
now, can you hear me?
hey Pam.
Hi. Okay, so bear with me. I had to write stuff down because I just could not remember all this stuff like your sister did. So I got to write it down. So my journey started January 23rd, 2015. That's when I went for my annual mammogram. So I received a call back 3 days later that I needed to come back because the prior images were abnormal. So on February the 5th, I had a biopsy done on 2 nodules that were found on the imaging on my left breast. And the 2 odd nodules were found to be 0.6 millimeters, and the other one was 1.5 centimeters in size. I could not feel it or anything because I had no pain on my breast. Only the machine had to pick this up. My results were in, and I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer on my left breast. They referred me to the MDC, which is the Multi Disciplinary Breast Center in Greenville. And there I met with a team of specialists, including surgeons, a medical oncologist, and a radiation oncologist. After meeting with my team of heroes, surgery was scheduled then. My options were to have a double lumpectomy or to remove the two cancerous nodules, or a mastectomy that would remove the whole breast. So for safety reasons and to better my chance of becoming and remaining cancer-free, I chose to have the mastectomy. Surgery was done March the 11th, 2015. I plan on having reconstruction surgery after I heal from my mastectomy. But I'm like you, I had to expand now. I started everything, but due to multiple infections, including sepsis, I decided not to have reconstruction. Yes, I had went to the doctor that day. I wasn't feeling good at all, couldn't hold my head up. Time I walked in the oncologist's office, she looked at me, you got to go to Greenville right now. You have an infection. So it was an infection in my blood, and it was going really fast. So that night, they had to do an emergency surgery to take it out. I was in ICU for a week, but thank God I'm doing good now. I started my first round of chemo in April. I had to do 4 rounds of chemo. My hair didn't come out until after my second round, right before my third round. All of my hair came out. But then my last chemo was June the 17th, and I was declared cancer-free. And now I've been 5 years into my journey of remission, cancer-free.
Yes.
Okay, muted.
So thank you, ladies, for sharing your story. And now we're going to open up the forum for the panel to ask questions, because some questions did pop up to me when you guys was telling your journey. But I'm gonna open the floor for the ladies to start with the questions.
Okay, this is Courtney. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if I unmute my mine, it makes a whole bunch of noise. So this is why I'm just using hers. I do have a question for both of you guys. I know for me personally, my hair is like everything. So I guess I want to know what were the emotions and the different, I guess the different emotions that you experienced. I know, Pam, you lost your hair, and Miss Green's, I'm not sure if you lost your hair or not, but I would just like to know what you guys' emotions were during that time.
I had to started out. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I did started out with the 4 rounds of chemo as well. It was once every 2 weeks for 8 weeks. And after, I want to say starting the second round, my hair started coming out. And I was laughing because I told my cousin one day, I said, I feel like my hair is moving. And they laughed at me. I was like, no, seriously, I feel like my hair is moving. So at that time, I made the decision that I was going to shave it off because I did not want to comb my hair and comb all my hair out. So I had a friend, and she and her male friend came over, and he shaved my hair. But it didn't bother me because I liked to wear scarves and hats. So I just bought a bunch of scarves and different hats that I can rock those styles.
Well, in my case, it bothered me. My hair was like my hair. And it's like, time I would put my hand on it, it was just coming out. I could just touch it, and it was just coming out and coming out. And I still have my hair as today. I have it in a bag under the counter in the bathroom. I still have my hair. But
I think I might have thrown mine away, but I did keep mine, but I may have thrown mine away.
because my hair was everything to me. But then I learned to, hair is not everything.
Right.
It will grow back, and it did grow back.
Yes.
So, but I was devastated, really.
Oh no, I wasn't too broken up about it. I just did not want to comb my hair out. That was my fear, combing my hair out.
Like I could just put my hand on my head and my hair would just fall out in my hand all over the floor.
Oh,
so
wow.
Finally, it all came out except a few little twigs. And actually, Courtney's mother was down from Detroit. So we just said, okay, get the clippers. Let's just finish those little twigs and even it up. So she did. Gave me my haircut.
So one of the questions that popped up for me was when, and this is for you, Rhonda, when you said the lump was discovered in one breast, and then it was it one discovered in the second breast, or like why go with the whole take both breasts off? If that's my question.
Yeah, they found it was only found initially in the right breast. So about a month later, I was asked to go do another biopsy on the left breast, and they found a spot, but it wasn't anything like the one that they found on the right. And so when talking with the surgeon, we were discussing, okay, doing just the one, and I told him that I didn't want to do that, that if my insurance would cover both removal, then we're going to do both. And so the insurance I had, it covered the removal of both, because it had the risk of spreading to other areas of my body, in which it had spread to the lymph nodes in my right arm. So they had to remove some of the lymph nodes as well.
Aunt Pam?
Yes.
The same question to you? Was it discovered in both, or did you feel like it was just wise to take both?
I didn't get both taken. It was only discovered my left one. So that is the only one that I had the mastectomy done with, my left breast. I still go now, every 6 months to get the right one checked out.
I had a question. So, Pam, you said that you had a lumpectomy. What's the difference between a lumpectomy and mastectomy? Is there a difference? Can you please just educate me a little bit different? Like, because I thought it was all the same. But
a mastectomy is when they take the whole breast, remove the whole breast. The lumpectomy is when they go in and remove part of it. So, I could have had that done. They explained to me that if you look at a clock, they said mine was like, I had a spot like on number 1 and on number 4 of the clock. So they would have to go in and remove something at like number 1 and then go back and remove something at number 4. So I just decided to go ahead and have the mastectomy, just take the whole breast off, because with the lumpectomy, it could have came back also.
I had a question for Ms. Greene. I know that Ms. Pam, you said that you had been in remission for quite some time now. And I know, Ms. Greene, you've been in remission too. How long have you been in remission?
It's almost 5 years because I had the surgery in October. I completed radiation and chemo, I want to say March of 2016. So it's been that long. And right now I'm still going through the treatments where I have lab work. I see the oncologist every 3 months. I get a hormone shot every 3 months. And that was for 5 years after the completion of the radiation and chemo.
Okay, so I guess, are there any lifelong implications from having gone through this, even if you are in remission and you finish those treatments? Like, is there anything that you're expected to keep up with for, you know?
No, not after. I won't know for sure until after the, I guess the completion of the 5 years, once I talk with the doctor, and probably have to have like routine yearly, exams or whatever. But I only see the radiation oncologist once a year because there was really no, after all of the radiation was done, there was some burning of the skin, but that has since cleared up. So I just have to see them once a year.
Is that the same for you, Ms. Pam?
I didn't receive radiation, but yes, I do go see my oncologist every 6 months now. They do the lab work, and then I also take a shot, and that's every 6 months. And I am on a pill that I take. I thought I was just going to take it for 5 years, but my oncologist want me to continue to taking the pill to make sure the cancer won't come back. So I go every 6 months, and so far everything is doing good.
Good.
So my question to both of you all is, because this is such a life-changing event, how was your family there support? What other community supports was there? And also, what did you tell yourself when you got the diagnosis, and what did you take yourself to carry you to today?
Lots of prayer and family support. I didn't say anything to my family when I first found the lump because I was celebrating my birthday, and I didn't want that to be the focus. I wanted to have fun on my birthday. So it wasn't until I scheduled the biopsy that I, let my family know. And I still didn't let everybody know at the time what was going on. It was a few people I told, and you and my best friends, and you all, supported me. Y'all were there through the surgeries and all other things that I needed, as far as getting the things that I needed, preparing the house for when I came home, making sure that, it wasn't any kind of thing that would cause me to have a infection or get sick or anything. Everything was already prepared.
For me, my family was there for me. My daughter-in-law, God bless her soul, she was there. She went with me on every doctor visit, because once you hear that C word, your mind, you don't know what they're saying after that. So she took notes, asked questions, and now I can look back, and I've been reading over everything that was asked and that the doctor said, because like I said, once you hear that word, you don't think, you just lose it. And I did. So my family, they were there with me. My mom came and spent 3 months with me. Oh, she was here for 3 months. which I appreciate that. And yeah, my sister would bring her down and she would stay. She stayed 3 months. And of course, my husband was here. And of course, my 3 sons and Courtney, they were all here around me, making me drink because for some reason I kept getting dehydrated and I had to be put in the hospital. So they said I wasn't drinking enough, but they don't realize when you take chemo, nothing tastes right. Everything, it tastes like lead or something. I don't know how lead tastes, but you just don't have an appetite. So of course I was in and out of the hospital with dehydration, and I had to just learn to let my family take care of me, wait on me. I had to put my trust in God and to know that he was going to see me through this, because this was a journey that nobody wants to go through. Nobody, but we made it.
Her daughter-in-law actually had a question. She's watching now. Hey, Taryn.
Okay.
So her question was, what was the experience like of getting...
Courtney, we can't hear you, baby. You went out.
Okay, I unmuted her. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So the first question was, what was the experience like of getting the news initially? Were you alone? And did you wish that you, I'm sorry, do they wish they weren't, or do they feel that being alone was better? So basically, do you wish that you were with somebody else when you received the news, or did you feel like being by yourself was best? So that's for both of you guys.
When I received my news, I was in the doctor's office and he said, well, I have good news and I have bad news. I said, okay, doc, give me the bad news first. You got cancer. And that's all I could hear. And then he went to the good news, which was, it was the early stages and it could be treated. But I just felt, I broke down. I just cried and cried. So the secretary had to actually call my mom and my sister and tell them to come get me, because I was devastated. I wasn't expecting to hear that.
I had when I went to my doctor with my concerns about the lump, he had already prepared me that this is what it could be. And so he called me and he told me over the telephone, and then he said, I need for you to come in. So I got the phone call because he had already prepared me that, you know, because of the size, because it was large. He said because of the size, then he suspect that this is what it is. So I got the phone call.
So, and this question popped up to me when Aunt Pam said, you know, when you hear the C word, is it because we have heard final when we hear cancer? Like that was the narrative of cancer for so many years that, you know, people didn't come back from it, that it put that fear in it for you? Like when you heard the diagnosis?
Yes, that was the case for me. Because, you know, like you said, used to be when you hear cancer, you know, that's it. That's the last thing you want to hear, because like people were dying from it and they didn't have, you know, treatment for it or anything like that. So when you hear that word, it's like, oh no, you know, I'm dying.
Yeah, I agree.
I heard both of you talk about prayer and you know, leaning on your relationship with God, like how did that experience change you spiritually, if it did?
That's a good question.
It made me think about, you know, the what if. If I didn't have the faith that I had, would I have turned out the way that I did? Because I've talked to a lot of different people, and they, you know, told me their experience and the, you know, different things that they went through with the diagnosis and the chemo and the radiation. And a lot of what they struggled with, I didn't. I had some minor setbacks, but nothing compared to what they had. So I think it's based on your beliefs and whether or not you're going to say, this is not going to overcome me. I'm going to overcome it.
The same with me. I just kept going back to a scripture. It is Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, the 5th and 6th verse. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not into thy own understanding. All thy word in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. I just kept saying that because God's going to direct my path. He's going to help me out through this, and he did. So I just kept leaning towards that verse, you know.
So with both of you guys having to go through treatment, do you feel like you received the best care? A lot of times you hear in the news that we as African American women do not receive the best care for a lot of our diagnosis and medical concerns. So when you guys was going through your treatment, did you feel like you received the best treatment?
I do. My doctors and oncologists were awesome because if I had questions, I asked. If I wasn't sure about something, I asked. And they had to explain this to me before I, you know, agreed to anything. You know, give me the pros and the cons. But I think I did.
The same with me. I have.
And then, sorry, Aunt Pam. And one of the things that I can say about my sister, doctor, is he gave us his cell phone, his personal cell phone, like, because maybe he know we don't play. So he gave us his personal cell phone so we can call him. Like, so I will say your doctors was awesome. Sorry, Aunt Pam, go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, my doctors, they're awesome. They were and they still are. They're awesome. If I had a question, my daughter-in-law had a question, of course, they would answer it. And my surgeon, she gave us her number also that we could call her if we needed her. So I had a great team. Great team. Wouldn't give nothing else for them.
Okay, I have another question. Leave it on me. I have another question. Our cousin Valencia wanted to know, what would you tell African American women in breast cancer checks about any myths that you can clear up or prior to your diagnosis, or anything that you know now that you can kind of say that is not true? So any myths that you may have heard prior to your diagnosis that, you know, is not true.
I don't know about any myths, but I know I had always been told to, at 40 years old, you need to get a mammogram. And that was on my mind. Okay, I'm turning 40 this year. I need to schedule my mammogram. But lo and behold, I ended up having to schedule the mammogram because I found a lump. So now they're saying, you know, I've had friends who said, you know, they've already had a mammogram prior to turning 40.
Yeah, I think you should go ahead and take control because, you as a female, you know your body. And if something don't feel right, you need to go to the doctor and find out what it is. Just take control of your body and your health and get it done. I mean, if you're 20 years old and if something is there and it don't feel right, don't play around. Go to the doctor because the earlier you detect it, the better it'll be.
I had a question about like mental health support, especially when you find out your diagnosis and as you're going through that process, how important was it to both of you to have mental health support, if at all, or did counseling come as part of that package of care? Is that something you had access to during that process?
I didn't do any mental health counseling or anything like that because I could, friends I could call and talk to them. I would rather we talk, have a normal conversation. We're not going to focus on, I have this cancer and this is what we're going to talk about. That was not going to be my topic of conversation. Treat it just like it's any other day and no diagnosis.
I didn't have to go through any mental problems either. I had my family there, friends. I just talked to people and just did my, daily thing.
So I know a lot of times with the chemo and radiation, when you have your final session, you do some celebratory event. So can you guys share what you guys did when y'all got your final round and you was like, I ain't got to come no more? Can you share with us what did you do to celebrate?
I think we rang the bell. For radiation, I got a certificate that I completed my final round. And more than likely, I probably went out to eat because with the chemo, it was once every 2 weeks. And that first week, everything tasted funny. So going into that second week, I knew my appetite would be back. So I made sure I ate what I wanted to eat.
So what meal was that?
Probably crab legs.
Well, you ready for this? So,
Yes,
my daughter-in-law, she would take me to every chemo visit. So we had a certain seat that we sat in, which was by the window, so I could look out the window. So this certain day, the last treatment, she said, oh no, we can't sit there. Somebody else is sitting there today. So we had to move on up farther, away from the window, not knowing that they had planned this for me. So I'm laying in there taking my little chemo. Here about 20 of my family come in with balloons and a cake to surprise me on my last chemo treatment.
Oh.
I was so surprised. I was so happy. I was crying. And then they did get to see me ring the bell. I didn't get a certificate, but they got to see me ring the bell. And my son, he was in Tennessee. He came and surprised. I just talked to him a couple of hours before that. And he walked through the door also. So I was surprised. I was happy to ring that bell.
So what we're going to do now is give words of encouragement. What we want you guys to do is for anyone who has gotten that diagnosis or scheduling that mammogram or going through chemo, radiation, making decisions to keep the breast, to take the breast off, to have reconstruction or not. We want you guys to give, because you walk that journey and you walk in those shoes, we want you guys to share and give your personal words of encouragement at this time for anyone that's watching, so they too can understand that at the end there's light. At the end, your hair do grow back, but we want you guys to share with everyone now those words of encouragement that you will give.
Early detection is the key. So the sooner you get tested, get checked, the better. And it's not the end of the world. You know, some people just grovel on, you know, I have cancer, and they just let that take over. I have cancer and it's taking over my life, but it doesn't have to take over your life. You know, just if you need to speak to someone, surround yourself with the people, family, friends, pastors, whoever, who's going to support you through that journey, to help you through that journey.
Just go ahead, like I said, take control of your health and practice early detection of breast cancer. Something don't feel right, get it checked out as soon as you can. Don't put it off. Um, get screened every year. Just get screened. Now they have these 3D screening, which is great because that's what I use now. The 3D, and it shows things up right then, I think. And know what's normal for you and what's not normal, and just make healthy lifestyle choices.
I think one of the questions that just came up to me was when Courtney read one of the questions that was posed about myths. Sorry if I can go back, you guys. I think one of the myths out there is that cancer is hereditary. Can you guys expand on that? About, was it hereditary, or how do they go about discovering if it is? Like, did you guys have to do genetic testing once you got the test results and things? Because I think that is an issue, because a person might have a diagnosis and they're trying to figure out, was it passed on to them, not necessarily something within themselves.
I had the genetic testing, and mine was negative. But my grandmother, mom's mom, had a lump removed from her breast, and we had an aunt that passed away from breast cancer as well. And when I, relayed this information to the doctor, and at my mom's age, he said eventually she would have developed breast cancer as well.
Okay.
I opt out of the genetics because I asked my mom, and there was nobody on her side of the family that had breast cancer. I asked my dad and his sisters, there was nobody on his side of the family that had breast cancer. So it was like I was the first one. So I just opt out of the genetics.
So I guess what this took me down to another rabbit hole. So Rhonda, when you said you was negative, can you expand on what does that mean? When it said you took the test for the genetics and it was negative, but the doctor said that this would eventually happen to mom.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on how the genetic testing really works, but either you would be positive that you had a predisposition to get it, or you would be negative. but mine was negative. So I didn't get all into the workings. All I heard was negative.
Okay. Sorry, ladies. Do y'all have any questions? Any questions? Any more questions? Because you know, the more we talk, the more questions pop up. So I will ask.
I do have one question. I guess in terms of advice that you would give to other women who maybe haven't had the same experience, you know, to that extent, but maybe have discovered like an abnormality in their breast tissue. You know, if it's biopsied and it turns out to be benign, you know, and there is no cancer detected, but there's still that abnormality there, you know, what would you advise in that situation? Like,
to follow whatever the doctor advises. Because he may say, you know, you have to come in every so many months or every so many years to get it checked. Because that's what they did with the one on the left side, the area. They notated, put a marker on that area. But then at that time, I had already decided that we were going to do a double mastectomy. So it didn't matter that they marked it or not, because I had the mastectomy.
I didn't have
I have
to
a question about. Go
I
ahead,
didn't go
Aunt
through
Pam.
that,
Go ahead.
but I agree. Follow the doctor advice. Just do what the doctor say.
The question that again, like I said, the questions come. Insurance. I heard both of you guys said that your insurance covered. Your insurance covered. Was there someone along the way helping, guiding you guys with those? If you had questions about the treatment for your insurance, like what would your insurance covered, or you know, like insurance to cover this? I know a lot of insurance, you know, try to opt out of things, especially like you said, when you hear the C word, when you hear the cancer, you know, they try to say, oh, you can get this and not this or whatever. Did you guys have someone helping you with the insurance question, or was that something in your doctor office that they was helping to make sure that it would cover?
The doctor. I told the doctor that I wanted to do the double mastectomy, and it only would be done if the insurance would cover it. So he had to send in basically paperwork to say, this is the reason why this should be done. And they approved it.
I really didn't have a problem with my insurance. My husband also had a cancer policy on me, also on us, the family. So we used that also with my insurance. So I didn't have a problem with anything. And then the secretary, my doctor's secretaries, they would fill stuff out and send in the right paperwork for me to get everything taken care of. Very expensive.
Yeah. I had a cancer policy as well, and I have been trying to cancel it probably for the past 5 or 6 years, but I never did. And I'm glad I didn't, because that helped out a lot.
What is the cancer policy?
It supplements your income when you're out of work. It pays you so much money based on the time that you're out of work.
So it's like a short.
It also covers.
Yeah.
It's insurance. It's like additional insurance.
Yeah, it's insurance.
But it basically helps. Like it's one of those things where it's like supplementary insurance, and it's better to have it than then have it, because by the time a lot of people think about it, they already have the diagnosis, so
It's not
you kind of
Also,
yeah,
I'm not sure if Pam's, if it covered hers or not, but I know some cancer policies will kind of allow a stipend for, like, if you have to travel somewhere, or if you have a relative or somebody coming in, it'll help with hotel rooms and gas and things like that. So it is really beneficial to
It
to
is.
have.
It is. It does. It gives you a list of everything that they would cover for. You get a check for the diagnosis. You get a check for the biopsy. You get travel reimbursement if you have to drive back and forth to the doctor facility. If someone has to stay with you, they reimburse you for hotel. I mean, it's a lot, and it does help when you're out of work, because like at that time, my medical leave didn't kick in until I was out of work I was out of work for a good bit of time. I can't remember exactly how long, but I had already exhausted my sick leave, annual leave, all that. So I was basically out of work without pay. But once that policy kicked in, once I started, filling out the paperwork, and then I started getting that income, so that helped.
There was another question that was posed as well. Is there anything about your journey with cancer that makes you happy that you experienced it?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm not happy that I experienced cancer,
Right.
but I don't know how to
I
answer.
think the question could be worded.
Well, I think what she meant
I
was just like,
understand what she's saying. Maybe it's give you a different outlook on life.
Yeah,
This could have taken me out, but it didn't.
right.
Maybe that. Okay, that's what I'm gonna go with. You have a different outlook on life when you have a diagnosis of a disease that could have killed you, and it didn't.
I'm going to go with that too.
Um, um, I feel like this probably give you guys. I've shared this with my sister before. When I had her speak at engagements for breast cancer survivors or breast cancer organization. This leads into one of them that my family and I have supported since the beginning. It was actually started by the niece of her aunt died from breast cancer. And so going through the journey, her and her family, she created an organization, the Pink Diamond Missionary. Hopefully y'all can see it. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the founder is Miss Ladinia Mitchell. She's a great friend of mine. We met in college, so that's how long we have been in each other's lives. And she started this organization because her aunt was diagnosed, and the family had to, help out. Unfortunately, she lost that battle, and so she started an organization to help families in her community with those the family with the diagnosis, and to help supplement. Like I said, a lot of people, by the time they hear the words cancer policy or supplemental, it's after they get the cancer diagnosis, so it does not work and they do not qualify. With this organization, she has been able to help many families through the years with it. And they are able to come and share their journey. I do believe it was 2 years ago, Rhonda. Was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, my sister was invited. I actually host it yearly, but my sister was invited to tell her story there, and it was a very powerful story. But it was to be able to share about it, and that gave the people in the audience and the families that was dealing with it that hope that everything was going to be fine, and then to see the family in the faces of the people. To know that they understand what you're going through, and then to know where your money is going. A lot of times we see organizations and, but you don't know where that money is going. Giving into that organization and that charity, you know that it's working into your communities. So I've talked with the owner. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us because she's working. But I did tell her that I would share on the podcast about her organization. Because one is great. One that it was started with a purpose to help, and it has been doing that. And we wish that it's continuous because, again, a lot of organizations say they help families, but this organization literally put money in hand to help. A lot of times you guys have, like you said, like Rhonda was saying, she had insurance, but it took a while to kick in. She had the coverage, but at work she had, and so sometimes help come, but help come when you down on your luck. So organizations like the Pink Diamond Missionary join in to help bridge that gap, close it a little bit. Do you guys have any organizations that reached out to you guys, or any organization, or is this your ministry to start an organization, being that you guys had to walk this walk?
I was told that I could contact the Greenville Cancer Society, but I did not. To me, I didn't feel that there was a need for me to contact them because I had everything. But I knew that if they were available, if I needed it.
Yeah, I was also told to contact the Greenville Cancer Society, but I did not either. I just didn't contact them at that time.
Well, if there anyone that's watching and they're going through, there is a Greenville Cancer Society out there where they can talk and lean on for information. And there are organizations out there like the Pink Diamond Missionary Organization. And we will make sure that we link that information below under the video, because again, sometimes we have to, it said it takes a community. So sometimes familiar faces is one of those things that you need when you're walking down a path that you feel like you can only see your first step in front of you. So the other ladies, do you guys have any questions or any comments for our guests?
I don't necessarily have any more questions. I came into this with an open ear and to hear what you guys had to say. And as I came into this with an open ear, what I'm coming out with is what I would like to share with you guys, because I think it was so powerful that I think it needs to be said again, because I've heard 5 key words that were amazing. And I think that those 5 key words, I'm going to call it the C5. I keep hearing check, choice, control, community, and celebrate. And I love those. And I love that you guys had shared that with me. And so what I'm taking back is the 5 C's. And I thank you guys for your time.
So to Miss Rhonda and Aunt Pam, is there any last comments or any shout outs? I know, like I said, Miss Aunt Pam, I know you was nervous coming on. I told you we're not vicious. We're sweethearts. And again, you know, it takes that big step to open up and share a journey. And we thank you both. But we're going to open right now for you guys to say what you have to say.
Well, I would like to give a shout out to my family, the Hunter family, the Walker family, the Little family, my whole family, entire family and friends that's watching. I love you all. You guys were there for me. You're still here for me. You've been very supportive of me, and I appreciate that. And if I don't get a chance to tell you anymore, I love each and every one of you. I love you, especially my husband and my boys. I love you.
What about me?
And yeah, you, Courtney. I love Courtney, my adopted daughter, of course. But if anyone out there that's listening, if you would like to talk to me or call me if you're going through some problems through cancer or whatever, breast cancer, just get in touch with Crystal and get my information or something like that. I'll be glad to talk to you, go with you to your visits or whatever. I'm here offering my help to somebody else.
Yes, ma'am.
Same thing. Shout out to all my family. Everybody that supported me, my friends from telephone calls, visits, you know, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, ladies. So you have it here. This is our ending our episode from the ladies' room. What we're going to have is a signing off. So with this, our guests can join in. You have to say your name and where people can meet you and greet with you. So your email address, or if you have social media, they can follow you on social media as well. If you have anything coming new, any brands, any businesses, we're here to support all of that. If you guys had an idea to start an organization, you say, hey, I want to join and do this. Okay, great. So this time we're going to have everyone to give their credentials while we sign off. And again, all the information that was shared, we're going to link it below, and you will see it shared on me and the ladies' social media platforms. So the 5 C's, Theronda, I think that's great. Please share with us and tag us in it.
Absolutely. But I will say that I'll just send it to you because I have taken a sabbatical from all social media platforms. In all honesty, I am taking a sabbatical and I'm letting God pour into me. And so whatever he pours into me, I will pour into you. But at this time, I am taking a sabbatical from all social media platforms. But I will definitely text you. But in the meantime, I'm feeling moved to say, like, if there's anyone, I know that we have the Pink missionaries. And so I would say that if there's anyone who I would like to join in on the Pink missionaries, so if there's anyone that would like any support, financial support, anything like that, I'm leaning on God and I'm trusting on God to help with that. And so what you can do is you can email me at tmyers.abidergratibbes@gmail.com, because that's my only form of contact right now. And so I will say that. And I will, and as soon as Crystal texts me the information for the Pink missionaries, but that's all I have to say about that. Get back to me at the end of the year, and then I'll tell you what God has poured into me. But that's it. Love you guys.
Rhonda, Rhonda, you posted so they can only reach you by email.
Yes, they can only reach me by email because this is the truth. Listen, this is the truth. Sometimes you just got to sit down and let God pour into you. And the only time I'm going to be available is when an email, and that's it. Don't Facebook me, don't do nothing, because I'm not going to answer, because I'm letting the Lord pour into me, because that's just the truth. I'm sorry. Just got to be real.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is Theronda. Okay. Theronda is also a licensed social worker in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and she has her own counseling business. So if you want counseling, you better email, but she's not not going to take any referrals. Okay. Love you, Theronda. Miss Whitney, can you tell us where we can meet you and any business and interest you have coming up? Miss Whitney also has been featured on commercials down here.
I forgot about that. Thanks, Crystal. So I am on Facebook and Twitter under some last name, contract consulting services in human resources, and also marketing communications.
Miss Greene, where can we find you, and where can we reach you at?
I'm on Facebook under my name. If you send me a friend request, I'll check you out, and I will accept it.
Do you have anything coming up that we need to be aware of so we can support?
No. Nothing going on now.
Okay. So, Miss Courtney.
Okay, so my name is Courtney Mucklin. Of course, this is not my face, but Courtney Mucklin. You can find me on you can find me on Facebook at Courtney Mucklin. That's probably where I would answer if you were to send a request or anything. I don't have anything coming up, but I did want to make everyone aware that it is a little ways, but December 1st is National AIDS Awareness Day. So as I feel like every time I come on here, I say something about it. So it's always important to know your status. It's always important to, if you're testing active, you need to be tested. I always say 6 months, but they say a year. But, it's just important, especially within our African-American community. So just remember that December 1st.
Yes, ma'am. And Aunt Pam.
Yeah.
Now, I've been calling you Pam, and it says Ruby Little. So who is Miss Ruby or Mr. Ruby Little?
Well, Ruby is my first name, Ruby Pamela.
That's
so
my father.
I go by Pam.
My father's name was Ruby.
Oh, really? That's why you love my name so much. Yeah, but I also can be reached on Facebook, but I tell y'all, I'm not into the Facebook all like that, but I will look at it every once in a while. I'm just not into it yet, but I can be located on Facebook, and I will. If I get a friend request or whatever, I will try my best to return it and answer.
So I am Miss Crystal Salam. You guys can find me on social media under Crystal Salam. You can also find me on Instagram and other forms of social media such as Pinterest, Poshmark, and all those things under my business name. I launched a business this year, Let's Make It Crystal. You can find me at letsmakeitcrystal.com. We are expanding. So next we will have another section, and that will be under burial arrangements. Look at God. Okay. So check those out. Those will be coming soon, like dropping this week. We getting into the Christmas season where I'm currently taking orders for Christmas arrangements and things and wreaths. Also, you can find me and my husband. We both work in our dog's page. His name is Winston Lagoshi. He has an Instagram as well. You can follow him if you got pets and you're a pet lover. So you can find me on all those social media platforms under my first name, Crystal Salam, my business name, Let's Make It Crystal, or you can find me under Winston Lagoshi, my pet miniature schnauzer. And I do answer those messages and those texts. Unfortunately, I mean, COVID got everybody down, so we have to use social media and social ways to get in contact with each other. So, I mean, those are the times that we living in. And again, that allowed us to have this platform that we had tonight. So, ladies, we thank you guys for joining us. We thank you guys for sharing with us and our guests. We also thank you guys for being humble to say yes, because the question was posed and you didn't have to say yes. Okay. So I thank you guys. I know it was a little nervousness, but Aunt Pam, you did great. Ms. Greene, you did great. You so cool with it. At this point, that's just your testimony. So you did cool with it. And so what we're going to do now, are we going to sign off? So when we sign off, we just wave goodbye. So can you guys wave goodbye to our guests?